It's like panoramic views.
This is actually the best thing that's happened in 2020. In Orange we all use all French oak because we're making medium bodied red wine.
So this is our 2020 Shiraz.
Hi, we're Duncan and Soph. This year, we decided to quit our city jobs to adventure and to experience more of the things that we enjoy most. First stop, New South Wales, then on to the tropical north, following the sun all the way around Australia. For how long? Who knows? Are we crazy? Probably. But if not now, then probably never. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the road.
After a lazy morning in Mudgee, due to our big cycling/wine day yesterday, we packed up the van, ready to hit the road again, heading 2 hours south to the city of Orange. Orange and the surrounding area have a reputation for producing amazing food and wine due to its volcanic soil credited to the nearby Mount Canobolas. This week, we've been lucky enough to get invited to do a behind-the-scenes wine tour, so stick around for that. The beauty of setting off late is we arrived at the perfect time to witness an incredible orange sunset. No pun intended. Soph's convinced that the sunset might have been how Orange got its name. The actual reason is it's named after Prince William of Orange, a king in the Netherlands. Yeah, not gonna lie, I think I prefer Soph's version. Our home for the next couple of nights is the Orange Showground, which lets self-contained campers stay for free. Definitely a win for the old budget if you ask me. Plus, when we arrived there was another van here, which is always reassuring when there are other people around when you're free camping. First up today, we're heading to the Agrestic Grocer for some supplies. This place is pretty much a one-stop shop for all things made and grown locally in the Orange region. Great place to stop if you're strapped for time. They even act as the cellar door for Badlands Brewery. So naturally, we stopped in, grabbed some beers and some snacks.
Our next stop was actually a recommendation from the local lady behind the counter. She told us to head to Pinnacle's lookout, which apparently has an awesome view of the area.
Lots of hay.
On our way to the lookout, we passed a number of paddocks full of animals grazing. And you know we just had to stop and feed them. Well, try and feed them. After a few unsuccessful attempts by Dunk, which he insists was him getting them warmed up, I stepped in and showed him how it was done.
You might just need a woman's touch.
What makes you think they're going to take the hay from you and not me? I bet they will as well, look. Oh, you got all three.
Oh, nice.
Here's all the list of activities you're not allowed to do here. I particularly like the no shooting with a bullet hole next to it. That does make me laugh. Almost feels like someone should have littered next to it and brought their dog and tied it up here as well. Anyway. No golf up here. Doesn't look like the best place for golf, but
We better take the horse back as well.
It's only been about 100 steps, but wow.
This view is incredible.
This is amazing.
My goodness, it goes all the way around.
How good. It's like panoramic views of Orange and all the surrounding orchards. Wow, this is really worth the walk.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be able to see all those orchards that we drove up through as well. I reckon we came up through there, snaked along there, and then they're probably the sheep and cows that we sort of saw at that farm.
Yeah, it's amazing how many vineyards there are when you see it from this perspective.
Yeah, it really gives you a sense for just how much this land is like agriculture, and like I'm looking at, you've got olive trees there, you've got vineyards over there, you've got God knows what sort of orchards all around here, sort of 360 degrees planted. But you sure get a sense for just how good it grows things. Otherwise, why would everyone plant so much stuff around here?
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's beautiful.
I'm really glad we came up here. Like, this is an amazing spot. I feel like all my stress is just lifting away. I can't complain too much. I'm not even worried that we left the caravan unattended.
Excited to go look at some wines?
Yeah. Wearing my winery hat. I've been itching for an excuse to wear it. What do you reckon? Do I look the part?
We arrived at Ross Hill Wines, where we were lucky enough to score a behind-the-scenes tour. Ross Hill Wines not only produces some great cool climate wines, but it's also Australia's first carbon-neutral winery and vineyard. Pretty impressive. The owner, James Robson, was kind enough to take us around the winery and show us how they make their award-winning wines.
Firstly, we use one of these. Instead of our feet, we use one of these.
So that's just for the photos that people are doing with their feet.
Yeah. It's well, look, it's, you know, everyone thinks, oh wow, that'd be so cool. It is cool for about the first 30 seconds, and then it's just hot and sticky and disgusting, you know, like.
And how long do your feet stay red for?
So all of those guys, all the winemakers, all their hands are red for the whole, and then it takes weeks for them to bleach out. So we press, instead of using our feet, we press down with this, okay?
It's quite manual, isn't it? Rather than having a
Yeah,
machine
but we only do that for a couple of days, and then we do get a pump.
Yeah.
And what we do is we pump from the bottom over the top, okay? It's called pump over, and it's a very important part of making red wine. unlike white wine, with red wine, we're trying to get as much colour, tannin, flavour out of those skins, okay? It's the best job in the world. Firstly, you're making a wine that people are going to drink for 20 years. So your creative part of your brain is just like, oh, this is really cool. It looks beautiful, it smells beautiful, and it's also blowing off a bit of CO2, so you get a bit stoned while you're doing it. So, you know, not I have to go and buy a pizza. Yeah, it does keep on giving. It's really lovely, actually. So, yeah, so, and then we put it in the press. Skins go away.
What do you do with the grape skins?
The skins?
Yeah.
My Italian neighbour comes and picks them up for free, and he puts them into compost.
Oh,
So
cool.
good for me, good for
Yeah,
him.
great.
So we're trying as a region actually to set up our own composting business, because what we want to do is use that mark and put it back on the vines, but we just haven't quite got there yet. So this farm is actually called Sweetwater, and on the far end of the farm we've got a 160 meg dam. Now that is a very, very big dam, and it got down to 30% capacity, so that's really scary. So this is really cool, right? So it hasn't rained here for a week. This is not rainwater, this is spring water, okay? So there are springs all the way down here, and you can see one coming in that little bit there. So there's a lot more water going down there than there is there, because these reeds here behind us are a spring. And so this is filling up the dam, and this is just really exciting for us. This is actually the best thing that's happened in 2020, because what that means, water is everything in viticulture. And what that means is that, if we don't get hailstones, frost, 2021 is going to be so far ahead of 2020 because we've got water. Do you know what I mean? And as you can see, the soil is saturated. Now, because it's cold, it'll stay saturated for the whole of winter. So when budburst comes and it warms up, it's going to be absolutely awesome.
With the rose?
Walk down. Go on, it's dark. You won't, as soon as you turn around, you'll be able to walk back out. Bye, Sophie. Bye, Soph. She's never coming back. All right, mate. See you later. That's right. The barrel gremlin has got her.
She'll be pretty at home here.
Here she goes. Oh, and she's back. It's a long way, huh? Balance and harmony, and it's a balance between fruit, acid and oak. So the flavour of the fruit comes from the ground. It's what the French call terroir. The acid is part of that. The oak part of it is our input. I mean, our input is the crushing of the grapes, like I said, and all that sort of stuff, but this is an input. So in Orange we all use all French oak, because we're making medium-bodied red wines. There's three things to having the right balance in oak. One is that we use different tonnelleries or barrel makers, okay? They all have, like everything else, they all have their own different flavours and what they bring to wine. The age of the oak. So what that means is that if you have a look at this, see this Grom here, okay? Great name, isn't it, Grom? That means 2019 Griffin Road Old Merlot, okay? So it's the original Merlot block, okay? So you'll see quite a lot of new oak in there, and some 14. So the oak, we use our oak to up to 10 years old. You only get oak influence up to 7, but as long as you keep your barrel hygiene good, you can use them up to 10, but they're not bringing any oak flavour in. But it's better to make a cheaper red wine in an old barrel than it is in a steel tank. Okay, so because we've got red wines that are $10 a bottle and red wines are $95 a bottle. We believe in our business you've got to cover all parts of the scale. So the oak part is an economic part, because a brand new barrel is expensive. But it's also, when we're making a $10 bottle of wine, it's to drink now. When you're making a $95 bottle of wine, you can drink it now because it's bloody delicious. But if you can wait 5 or 10 years, that's where you're going to get your value out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and that's one of the beauties of wine. Is, it's a living thing, even when it's in a bottle. It's always changing, it's always evolving, and the trick with aging red wine is that please drink it at least 4 years before you think it's going to go off, because when it goes off, it's just disappointing. You know, like you've kept it for so long. You know, so.
Left. I don't know if you can see in there. It's quite strong if you pop your head in. So yeah, what I'm doing is I'm just pumping it out straight into barrel. These are our hogsheads, so these hold 300 litres. So open the valve, you know, pop it on. I'm going to pop around this side, you'll see it coming in. So I can control the temperature.
Well, the fumes.
Yeah. You can get a bit of, especially if you're filling a new oak barrel, you can really get the wafts of the new oak and the fresh fruit as well. This is a Valenche, our barrel thief. Makes a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Winemaking is messy. I think about 80–90% of winemaking is cleaning. Yeah. Cleaning tanks, skirting the floors, all that fun stuff. So this is our 2020 Shiraz. So it's just finished fermentation, so primary fermentation and then secondary as well, which is called Malolactic Fermentation. So what we've done here is we've racked it out of the barrel, so racking, just pumping it out off all the lees that's at the bottom, putting it into tank, putting sulphur in it, which will stop anything happening, it'll preserve it. Then you put it back in barrel and give it time. So you gotta give it a good sniff. And then when you take a sip, you have to breathe in a little bit of air at the same time.
Wine tour finished, it was time to taste. The Chardonnay was a standout, and it was pretty cool to taste a Pinot Noir which was grown less than 15 metres away from where we sat. Sadly, I'd agreed to be designated driver today, which was great news for Soph, who perhaps a little too enthusiastically finished off my glasses for me. Sometimes before I'd even tasted them.
Great legs, look at that. We just spent a good hour and a half with the owner, James, and you can just feel his passion. He's so dedicated to making the best quality wines, and what I find really interesting, carbon neutral wines. The only or the first Australian winery to do so. And interestingly, he came from hotels, the same as me. And now he's living the dream, got his own vineyard and winery.
Whilst we were in Orange, we caught up with some friends who live in the area. They've been renovating this incredible farm for the past few years, and along the way have collected a menagerie of animals to complete their homestead. We arrived just in time for feeding, so this was the perfect chance for Duncan to redeem himself. And after a bit of patience, Mr. Animal Whisperer was back.
Join us next week as we head to the Warrumbungle Dark Sky Park and learn some vital lessons about caravanning along the way. Until then, have a great week.
What has happened?
That's nuts.